Hey y'all, I'm really excited to share this tips and tricks with you. It's something that I've been using for a really long time, and I just think that it can be really helpful when picking out the knitwear that you want to make and making that cue. So to give a little bit of background, when you're scrolling through Ravelry or wherever it is that you find your patterns, designers style their designs in a way that matches their style. It's reflective of them as artists, as people, and so sometimes it's hard to unsee that style, which is something that I've talked about with the One Knit 4 Ways, which is why I do it, to try to show that it can be styled in many different ways. But there's this other piece to it, which is color. So when you go into a store to buy ready to wear clothes, typically you're first drawn to color versus shape, versus the shape of the piece. So typically you gravitate towards the things that bring you joy to wear. Some people it's really bright neon colors, some people it's pastel colors, some people it's more neutral colors, and people tend to gravitate towards those things time and time again because it's things that they wear. And that can be really difficult and pose a really big challenge when you're scrolling through Ravelry or wherever it is that you find your patterns, because you come across something that is a color that you wouldn't normally wear, that's not fitting of your style or reflective of you as a fiber artist who knits. And so you tend to keep on scrolling versus looking at the piece for what it is and not the color. But sometimes it's really hard to unsee that color. So there's this really great trick, which is insanely simple. And you just take a screenshot of a picture where you get the whole view of the sweater or the piece, whatever it is, where you get a whole view of the piece, screenshot it, go into your edit mode and change it to black and white. And it's so simple, but it makes so much sense because it's really hard to superimpose the colors that you're thinking of over colors that are not reflective of you. And once you turn it black and white, it's much easier to envision the colors that you would use to make that pattern. It's also much easier to see the shape of the sweater, of the hat, of the whatever. It's much easier for you to see the shape, to see if it is something that you would be interested in wearing, because there are so many amazing designers out there whose designs are so engaging and the construction is so interesting and different, and I'm so afraid that people are going to miss out on knitting those things because they see the color first and they think, not for me, and they keep moving versus looking at the piece itself. And so I really wanted to just show some quick examples for you, because for me, if you've been following me for a long time or not, I tend to gravitate towards much more neutral colors. I really, really like my neutral shades. And so if I didn't know this trick, I probably would have missed out on a whole lot of Stephen West patterns, because those really bright colors aren't necessarily something that are reflective of me. They're very reflective of him, and it is wonderful, and his style is amazing. And but it's just, there aren't colors that I connect with, that I wear. So one really great example is the amazing Technicolor sweater, this one right here. So there's a few different versions of it, and they are all very brightly colored, very much within Stephen West's style. But if you change it black and white, you see past the color and you see the shape of the sweater. And I realized I really wanted this sweater. I really love the shape of it. I love the hem. I love that rounded hem. I can see the construction. I've knit a bunch of Stephen West patterns, and his construction is so insanely genius. And I was lucky enough to take one of his classes down in Virginia, and his methods of creating and designing these patterns is so artistic and so brilliant. And I would have missed out if I had only looked at the color and not the actual shape. And so this was really effective for me. So another great example is the festival sweater, the light festival sweater that he has, which is this one. And again, really bright colors, beautiful, but not necessarily me. So you change it black and white, and you can see the shape of it and see how that fits in your style. And one more example, the Wednesday sweater, which is a really pastel, the yarn chosen for the sweater is a very, it's a pastel speckle. And some people love the pastels, which is perfect, do your thing. It's not always my thing when it's just right against the white background, so I changed to black and white. And then I can more easily envision it in more neutral colorways in something that I might do, like something with like army greens and browns, something like that. So, so yeah. So again, it's a really simple, easy trick, but it really does help you unsee the colors that were chosen by the designer and see the colors that are more reflective of you as the knitter. So I just think it's a really great tip to have in your back pocket. I really recommend that you use it, especially when you see things that you're like, that's not me at all. Think, no, let me go ahead, take a screenshot, and let me see the shape of the sweater. So that's it for this tips and tricks. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to give me a follow, and thanks so much for watching.